You've spent years leveling up. Your physique is solid, your business is booming, and your lifestyle looks elite on the surface. You've done everything the so-called dating experts said would attract women. You've got the car, the fashion, the swagger. But when you're face to face with a woman, it's like the spark never lights. They smile politely, but you feel the emotional distance. You go on dates, but you're the one always initiating. You plan, text first, carry the conversation, and she just floats through it. Meanwhile, your buddy with no six-pack, no fancy car, and no big achievements has women chasing him like he's a rock star. They blow up his phone, obsess over his attention, and would do anything to lock him down. You're left wondering what kind of glitch in the matrix you missed. The truth? Everything you thought made you desirable is actually making you invisible. What you've been taught about attraction is not just outdated, it's completely backward. You've been following a blueprint built to fail. You thought achievements would open the door to desire, but what really drives women wild lives far deeper. Let me hit you with a hard truth. Women don't crave what you have. They crave who you are. Not the highlight reel you post, but your inner world when no one's watching. That silent, grounded confidence you can't fake. That's what makes her heart race. Today, we're diving into the psychology behind female obsession. I'm not here to give you surface-level pickup advice. This is about transforming your identity and understanding attraction on a primal level. You'll learn why some men spark uncontrollable desire, while others, even those who have it all, get ghosted. This will shake the foundation of what you believe about success, women, and yourself. Before we explore how obsession forms, we need to rip apart the biggest myth. Society sold you on the checklist formula. Make money, get fit, dress well, and boom, she's yours. But that path is a trap. It leads you into a hamster wheel of achievement with no genuine connection. This isn't chemistry, it's not compatibility, and it's definitely not about having the perfect resume. Men waste years building status only to be overlooked by the very women they're trying to impress. They become bitter, burned out, and disillusioned. Why? Because real attraction isn't transactional. Women aren't falling for your LinkedIn profile. They're falling for something they feel but can't explain. And that something starts with how you carry yourself internally. This brings us to a concept that flips the dating game on its head: sexual market value discrepancy. Women become obsessed only when they perceive a man's value as higher than theirs. But it's not based on numbers or stats. It's based on perception, and perception is shaped by energy. Let me paint a picture. Two men walk into a room. One is rich, ripped, and dressed in designer brands. The other is broke, in plain clothes with nothing flashy to offer. But he says one confident, witty thing without trying. And suddenly, every woman looks at him differently. Why? Because value isn't about possessions. It's about presence. Sexual market value isn't stored in your wallet. It radiates from your posture, your tone, your calm. It's internal gravity, and most men completely miss this. Here's what most guys never get. Women don't rank you based on status. They rank you based on how you make them feel. The moment you try to impress, you signal that you're beneath her. And once she senses that, attraction dies. If she perceives you as above her, she starts investing emotionally. She becomes curious, then interested, then hooked. But if you're seeking her approval, you're already losing. The more you chase, the more she runs. The more you try to prove yourself, the more you prove you're not enough. That's the paradox. The man who doesn't chase, who's cool being himself, wins without even trying. That's the kind of man women crave. One of the most potent triggers for obsession is something called pre-selection. It's when a woman senses that other women want you. But here's the trick: you can't force it. If you try too hard to show off, you actually repel. Real pre-selection is subtle. It's in how you move, how you speak, and how little you seem to need anyone's approval. It's not about bragging, it's about being. When women feel that you're desired, it makes them question what they're missing. That curiosity leads to pursuit. They start chasing, not because you did something flashy, but because you did nothing needy. It's about grounded confidence, not arrogant displays. And you can't fake that. Women are hardwired to detect authenticity. This is where most men fall flat. They build status, but not presence. They gain money, but not magnetism. They have muscles, but no mystery. They become high value externally, but invisible internally. Let's be clear. External accomplishments don't guarantee internal power. You can be rich and ripped and still scream insecurity, and women pick up on that vibe instantly. If your sense of self is based on how others see you, you're on shaky ground. Meanwhile, a man with average looks, a basic job, and rock-solid self-worth will pull women in without lifting a finger. Because he doesn't chase, he doesn't seek, he just is. And in that stillness, he becomes captivating. Attraction is energy, it's vibration, and it only happens when your presence feels unshakable. That's why emotional independence is everything. You must validate yourself before anyone else does. Men who master this stop performing. They stop caring whether a woman likes them. Instead, they focus on how they feel about themselves. And ironically, that's what makes women fall for them. Confidence becomes the bait and the reward. The most dangerous thing you can do is rely on her reaction to feel good. That's the validation death spiral, and once you're in it, you're toast. Women can sniff out that neediness from a mile away. It's like wearing desperation as cologne. High-value men don't beg. They don't flinch when she pulls away. They don't base their worth on a text reply. They're solid, with or without her. That's the frame women find irresistible. If she senses you're emotionally self-sufficient, she stops playing games. She drops the mask, because now she's dealing with a man who's rare, someone she can't manipulate, someone who's not easily moved. That's when obsession kicks in. Want to become magnetic? Learn to be present, fully present. No distractions, no strategies, no agendas, just stillness, attention, and calm. Most guys talk to women while strategizing in their heads, but the man who truly listens, who pauses, who lets silence breathe, that man stands out. That man makes her feel seen, and that feeling is addictive. Here's a bombshell. Most of your goals weren't even chosen by you. Society programmed them into you. That's why you're chasing cars, abs, and cash, thinking they'll make you whole. But real power starts when you ask, what do I actually want? The men women obsess over don't follow the script. They write their own. They live on their terms. They define success by how it feels, not how it looks. And that freedom is intoxicating. Most guys think they want money when what they really want is confidence. They think they want abs when they're actually craving the self-worth they think comes with them. But confidence built on status is fragile. It crumbles under pressure. The strongest confidence comes from acceptance, from knowing you're enough right now, not someday. That self-love creates inner peace. And peace is power. It's the rarest form of value today. If you chase sex, you give away all your leverage. She becomes the gatekeeper of your happiness. That puts you at her mercy, and she'll sense it. The second she knows she controls your emotional state, you're done. But when you're not chasing, when you value connection over conquest, you flip the dynamic. You hold the cards. You're no longer dancing for approval, and that makes her want to win you. Here's the twist most guys don't see coming. Sometimes the sexiest move is saying no. When you can turn her down, not out of game, but out of self-respect, you create mystery. She realizes she can't buy your attention with her body. That's rare. And rarity breeds desire. Real masculinity is stoic, calm, present, not reactive. It doesn't rise and fall with her mood. It remains grounded. And that groundedness is what women crave. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel seen. It makes them feel like they've met a real man, not a performer, but a presence. Women aren't looking for a show. They're looking for a mirror that reflects their own depth, and only a man who has depth himself can offer that. So if you want her addicted, become a man who doesn't need to be chased, a man who is already full. When you remain calm no matter what she says or does, she starts leaning in. She tests and you don't flinch. She pulls back and you stay rooted. She praises you and you don't puff up. That kind of composure drives her insane, in the best way. Women are emotional creatures, not because they're irrational, but because their attraction is rooted in how they feel, not what they see. That's why a man with emotional intelligence can outshine a man with perfect looks. It's about resonance, not resume. If you can stir her emotions, you can reach her soul. Some guys try to impress with flashy dates, expensive gifts, or constant compliments. But the man who simply feels different, that's the one who haunts her thoughts. She remembers how he made her feel seen, how she forgot the world when she was with him. That's the memory that keeps her coming back. It's not about being the best man on paper. It's about being unforgettable in person. And that comes from emotional presence, from being grounded, from being real. Most guys are so busy acting like what women want, they forget to be themselves, and that lack of authenticity repels. A woman doesn't want a perfect man. She wants a man who's perfectly secure in his imperfections, a man who can own his flaws without shame, a man who can be vulnerable without needing her to fix him. That level of self-acceptance radiates strength. Groundedness is rare in this overstimulated, anxious world. Most men are scattered, scrolling, swiping, seeking. But a grounded man, he's still, focused, magnetic. He doesn't need attention, which is exactly why he gets it. He doesn't chase, which is exactly why he's desired. His silence speaks louder than words. His presence fills the room without trying. And that's a presence she can't forget. Being grounded doesn't mean being passive. It means you're in control, not of her, but of yourself. You're not tossed around by emotions. You're not swayed by rejection. You remain calm because your identity is solid. The ultimate secret to female addiction is internal peace. When you're okay with who you are, where you are, and what you have, you become dangerous in the best way. You're not needy. You're not desperate. You're free. Most men try to get something from women: validation, sex, attention. But when you're at peace within yourself, you give without needing anything back. That's the rarest energy of all. You don't need her to complete you. You enjoy her company, but you don't depend on it. You can give love without strings, compliments without hoping for anything, and presence without pretending. When a woman senses you're whole on your own, she stops playing games. She starts investing. She starts chasing, because she's not used to men who don't need her to feel worthy. That mystery becomes magnetic. Authentic connection is what makes her addicted, and it's not about saying the right things. It's about being the real you. She doesn't need another guy running game. She needs a man who can look into her eyes and be there, fully. No mask, no act. Empathy, presence, and emotional awareness are what unlock that depth. You don't need to know all her interests. You just need to understand her energy, read her emotions, feel her vibe, and reflect back authenticity. Most men are too stuck in their heads. They're running scripts instead of running emotions. They're trying to win her instead of feeling her. But the man who listens without judging, who speaks without trying to impress, who stays grounded while she swirls, that's the one she chases. The deepest form of attraction is polarity. It's when masculine and feminine energy align, not clash. Masculine energy is direction, presence, leadership. Feminine energy is flow, emotion, creativity. When those two connect, it's electric. Modern culture has blurred those lines. Men are told to be soft, agreeable, and passive. But when a woman feels real masculine presence, it unlocks something primal in her. She softens. She opens. She wants to feel your strength, not just physically, but emotionally. She wants to feel like she can let go. She wants to melt into your calm. And she wants to know that you can handle all of her, not just her beauty, but her chaos too. Masculinity isn't about being aggressive. It's about being anchored. It's about being the eye of the storm. When you can hold your frame, even when she tests you, you become unforgettable. That's when attraction turns into obsession. Non-reactivity is your superpower. When she can't shake you, can't throw you off, can't get a rise out of you, she starts trying harder. And the more she invests, the more attached she becomes. That's how emotional addiction begins. Not through chasing, but through consistency, composure, and calm. When she can't predict your emotions, you become exciting. Not because you're playing games, but because you're emotionally disciplined. You don't overreact. You don't under-respond. You respond intentionally. This creates tension, and tension creates desire. When she has to earn your emotional response, it creates investment. Investment is the foundation of obsession. The more she gives, the more she wants. So how do you apply all this? First, audit your motives. Ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for someone else's approval? Be brutally honest. If your self-worth is tied to results, you're on shaky ground. Start deriving your value from within. Validate yourself before anyone else does. Accept yourself, even the parts you hide. Develop emotional independence. Make your inner world stronger than your outer world. Practice being present. Put down your phone. Stop planning what to say next. Just be there. That alone will elevate your interactions beyond 99% of men. Be authentic. Drop the performance. Be who you are, even if it's messy. That's the only way you build real connection, and connection is what creates desire that lasts. Develop stoic emotional control. Not because you're numb, but because you're centered. Be the calm in her storm. Be the rock she leans on, not the wind that blows with every shift in her mood. Create peace within. Do the work. Therapy, journaling, meditation, whatever it takes. Heal your wounds, break your patterns, let go of needing approval. When you live from that place, everything changes. People treat you differently. Women feel differently around you. You attract better people, better relationships, and better outcomes. Not because you're performing, but because you're aligned. Here's your final reminder. Don't use this knowledge to manipulate. Use it to evolve. Use it to become the man you were meant to be. A man who doesn't need validation, but attracts it naturally. That's real power. When you reach that point, when you're emotionally full, spiritually centered, and truly at peace, everything starts chasing you. Not because you're begging for it, but because you've become the rarest thing in the world. A man who doesn't need anything. And that man is irresistible.